that we have in the film school, and then the majors that we have in the animation school as well, all fall under the film arts banner for honors. And we are actually running the same degree, although we put emphasis on the different majors. We're accredited for the same degree. And so today I'm going to tell you about the honors. I'm going to give you some information. Some of it will be about the DEMI-HOURS, some of it will be about the actual course content, some of it will be about how to get into honors, what's required for honors, that kind of thing. So let's get going. And this is our primary postgraduate course at Open Window. We don't have a master's at this stage. We're also looking to get a postgraduate diploma, but the honors degree is really, it's a NQF level 8, and it is what you need if you would want to do a master's. It's also what you would need if you would want to go into lecturing one day. But there are different reasons why people do an honors, and I'll get into that just now. But yeah, so like I said, it's a visual communication degree, and today the stuff that we're going to look at is who is this for? We're going to look at the course structure, at admission requirements, application process, and registration options. So I hope that you'll get an idea of what the honors is about, but also how do you go about actually making it happen. So who is this degree for? And there'll also be some time for questions at the end as well. It's for people who want to further their studies, perhaps in order to follow an academic career. So some of you might have found that while you were doing your undergrad, that you find the theory quite interesting, or that there are research areas that you want to go and explore more, in the practical sense or in the theoretical sense, or both. So if that appeals to you, this would be a good beginning of an academic career. It's also for students who want to develop their skills or their specialization, their field of interest. So the advancing the skills, the next one, you advance your skills in the honors in a different kind of way. So it's not content heavy. The idea is that you advance your skills by implementing them and by practicing what you have already learned. You develop your own specialization in your field of interest by engaging with it more. So a lot of fine arts degrees, for example, are 4-year degrees that include an honors, where they make it a compulsory to do the 4th year, because that is when you use what you've learned to create work that you are interested in, where you generate your own work. And there are a whole set of skills that are developed in doing that. So I know in your 3rd year, you have a lot of projects, and you are doing a lot of practical work in your actual field, but a lot of it is still driven by briefs that have been given to you by your lecturer. And they are, cut out into modules, so term by term. Whereas in your honors, you work on a year-long project that you generate. So you come up with the brief for yourself, and you develop your specialization because you choose what specialization you're going to develop. So things that maybe didn't fall into the majors so clearly are now a possibility. If you are combining 2 majors, or if there's a major that kind of overlaps over a number of different of the majors that we offer, this is the space where you can really hone those skills. Then gaining independent research experience, so getting into the habit of reading and writing, researching, putting things together that don't normally belong together, finding information. That's something that you haven't really been required to do till now, at least not on a high level. And the honors degree is very much that. You will need to do independent research, and that experience will equip you to do a lot of things in the academic field, but also in other fields, where you need to gather information and actually find out new things or come up with new hypotheses. Then expanding your portfolio. So the honors year is really a lovely time to make the work that you want to make, which often doesn't happen in the industry. Normally we just dive in and get work wherever you can, and there's not really time to just make a film, like make a feature film or write 6 scripts or whatever it is that you are dying to do that you haven't got to do in your undergrad. This is a time to expand on your portfolio and to really spend a whole year working on something that you can be proud of. And often it can even be your key work that gets you into the industry, or that gets you noticed, or that gets you funding. It doesn't have to always be that. It can be more explorative, where you figure things out that then equip you to make the next work. But yes, it's definitely a way of expanding on your portfolio. And then it's also for students who want to challenge themselves. You might find that you still have some learning that you want to do. You still have some growing that you want to do before you dive into the industry. And the honors degree is a nice space to grow on a lot of levels, character-wise, time management wise, creatively, also just the way you order your thoughts, that kind of thing. So yeah, it's necessary that you are an independent, driven individual, and that you're able to come up with creative solutions. Your honors learners are required to be academically astute, practically advanced, and are required to have a general sense of grit. This study is self-driven with facilitation of supervisors. So yeah, it does require a full commitment. So if you need to do a part-time honors, there is a part-time option, but if you opt for the full-time honors, it is a full-time course. So although you don't have classes necessarily every day, the amount of work required it takes a full year of study. So just to say, I mean, normally the students who end up in honors are the stronger students, the students who do well. That's partly because we've got a minimum requirement mark-wise, which I'll speak about just now. But it doesn't, sometimes we have students who, kind of just made the 65% cut, but then really thrive in honors because they do better in an environment where they're trusted more to do their own thing. So, but what is definitely required is commitment, and that you are present. So one can't really get through the honors if you're not self-driven, if you're not able to get yourself to do the work, because a lot of it happens on your own, in your room, kind of thing. So another thing that I want to mention is that, depending on the major that you've done, you might have done a lot of technical work, a lot of skills-based work, where you are sort of one cog in a bigger thing. You might love editing, or you might love character animation, and the honors, the way this course is designed and accredited, it requires you to think conceptually and to come up with a project that communicates visually, but that is also an artwork, that is also something that can stand on its own, that doesn't require another team. I mean, a bigger team. You are able to kind of use one another in the honors course, but it is important that you have a sense of creative ownership of a full project for the honors. So then, just to explain the course structure, so it's quite different to the undergrad. We've got a number of credits. So you've got is it 120 in total. So I'll see it on the right here by the course side. It goes 50 credits for the creative and 40 credits for the research paper. And then we've got 30 credits for the 3 fundamental parts. So these 3 on the left, the fundamentals, they happen in the first half of the year. It's research methodologies, which is over 2 terms. Then the critical discourses as well, those are 10 credits each. Those are theoretical subjects that you have to take. It's 2 hours a week. And then the creative practice, that's structured. You have a creative subject every week for 3 to 4 hours, where you will have 2 projects that will have briefs. They're smaller projects just to get you going. And you need to complete those successfully to be allowed to carry on with the rest of the year's work, which is the core work, which you see here is the research paper, which is 40 credits, and the creative practice body of work, which is 50 credits. So the core stuff is really the bulk of where your marks are going to be coming from. Your research paper is a document that's about 50 pages. It's actually a little bit less when you think of all the pictures and the bibliography and everything, but it's a proper paper. It's like a full-blown mini thesis, sounds like a contradiction, but it is quite a feat. You take the whole year to write that. We use research methodologies to finalize your proposal for that paper. And then the creative practice, it needs to be a large body of work. So if you're a gamer, game designer, you're probably going to make one game. Whereas if you're a filmmaker, you could probably make 3 or 4 short films, depending on the nature of the film. So I can't tell you now exactly what would be expected of you, but depending on the nature of your work, we would figure out what is a fair body of work, or what is your research require? Does it require lots of little experiments, or does it require one big project? So that's the creative practice side. Okay, if you have questions, just make a note of them and I'll answer them just now. So what do you need to get into honors? You need an NQF level 7. So if you have a degree, if you're finishing your 3rd year this year, then you have an NQF level 7. And that includes a theoretical and practical component. So sometimes you do get an NQF level 7 that only has a practical component if you were to go to a more of a technicon kind of environment. But if you studied at UP or at CTCA or at Open Window, then you will have an NQF level 7 with theory and practical. And it's got to relate to the visual communication field. So there's no one here from another school or another university, but it would, if they've studied something else, it would need to have some kind of connection to visual communication. Then for application purposes, we require the following from you. You need to have a preliminary proposal. It doesn't need to be a long document, but if you've done research practice, you will have a mini proposal. And it needs to, we know that you don't have a full-fledged idea yet. In fact, we're going to spend a lot of time with you, making a better proposal. But if you can give us even a 1 or 2 page preliminary proposal, it will help us to understand what you want to do. So that's required. And then a motivation. Why do you want to pursue an honors degree? You can write a paragraph on that, or a page, or however long you want. But we just need to understand what your intentions and motivations are. Then a portfolio indicating your practical skills. So we need to see what your capacity is, especially within the major that you're thinking of exploring your honors practical in. And then your CV to tell us more about yourself. So I know a lot of you maybe are now at Open Window, but have done other things before, or if you haven't, that's also fine. We want to just understand that about you. And then an academic transcript. So this you can get quite easily from the registrar. We just need to understand what marks you've had up until this point. So a transcript is just a printout of your marks and all the subjects that you've done till date. So this is a big one, and hopefully for you 3rd years, it's going to encourage you to really work hard. For some of you, 65% minimum is maybe easy, but just make sure that you maintain it if you already have it. So for the honors qualification, you need to have a minimum of 65% in film theory 300, okay? And you need to have 65% in your practical, so or higher, but not lower than that. The only time when we will make an allowance is if a student with a research practice mark of above 65% has maybe done a little bit less good in film theory. It's fine as long as you then have above 60% in film theory. So I hope that makes sense. But we can't allow students who have had less than 65% because they don't cope with the theory, especially. And even with the practical, doing a big body of work like that and the standard that we're looking for, if you weren't able to achieve 65% in your practical, the chances are very slim that you would be able to do that in the honors. So what do you do if you want to now apply? All right, so firstly, you inquire you can ask Stephanie. So Stephanie's here today. She's in the session. So you can email Stephanie, you can go and see her, I think, and just tell her that you are interested. She's the main person that you will have to do with in your application process. So she's our postgrad student advisor, and she will then get in touch with you to book an honors information session, which is what we're doing now, so you won't need that. or she'll share the video with you. Maybe your friends wanted to be here, but they aren't here. We will have a video available for them. And then the next thing is to pay your fee to secure your spot. So that's 1,750 Rand. You need proof of payment. So that's your application fee, and that will get the process started. And it will form part of your registration fee, which is 13,000 Rand. So Stephanie will then request the required documents, so the ones that I went through now, but also you need your ID. And then she'll set up an interview for you. So the first thing you do is you email Stephanie, then you pay that application fee, and then which will be the beginning of your registration fee if you are accepted, and then she'll ask you for the documents and she'll set up an interview for you. Then you send through your documents, and then you come to your interview. So in the interview, it will be me and Stefan, and maybe somebody else as well. And we will then try to understand a little bit more about what your plan is with your honors program. Okay, and then last but not least, you will receive guidance on planning your enrollment deposit to complete your registration process. So how does that work? So there we go, is your registration fee. Yeah, we can talk more about that just now if you've got questions. But here it is again. You send an email to Stephanie at help@openwindow.co.za or at stephanie@openwindow.co.za, indicating that you're interested. Stephanie, do you have a preference on which of those email addresses?
Thanks, Lorraine. So it's going to be Stephanie at openwindow.co.za. I no longer use the help box.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah.
All right. And then your application fee, and mail Stephanie the proof of payment. 1,000 of this goes towards the 13,000 registration fee and 750 as an administration fee. Then you send Stephanie Pillay the final version of the necessary application documents. Stephanie, if they do not get into the honors program, so then do we keep 750 of that money?
Yes, the 750 is not refundable, but the 1,000 Rand is.
Okay, good to know.
Okay.
Okay, step 3, an application interview will be set up by Stephanie, and that'll happen once we've got all the documents, it looks like. And then I see here there's a portfolio link, so it can be an online portfolio that you send. Then you have your interview, and then you will receive feedback from the postgraduate student advisor, which is Stephanie, regarding whether you've been accepted or not. And after that, you can pay your registration fee, which is 12,000 Rand. Proof of registration will be issued once the registration fee is received. Okay, and that can only happen once you've been accepted. So you've got two options if you want to do your honors. The one is full-time and the one is part-time. The financial implication is obviously a big one, but also if you're wanting to start working, then I would suggest 2 years instead of 1. But to be honest, it's easier to do it in 1 year because you're doing your practical and your theory together, and it feels lekker, and you get on a roll with all the other students who are also on the same role. And from what I can see, it seems like it's just easier. But we have had students who benefit from doing it over 2 years because they've got longer to think through the things, and obviously sometimes that is the only option because you need to work as well. So with the first year, the 1 year and the 2 year options have different deadlines. So if you're doing it over 2 years, you would be expected to do a portion of both of your theory and your practical in the first year. And you'll also have to do those 3 components that I said, the core ones, the fundamental ones. You'd have to do that as well in the first year. And here's the financial difference. So if you're doing it full time, the course fee is in total is 109,200. Part time is 61,100. So you can see here the course fee without the registration fee. It's pretty much half. Yeah, exactly half. So let's quickly talk. So then if you do it over 2 years, you'd have to just pay that registration fee twice. So that's quite a big difference. If this amount looks quite a lot to you, There is a way of making it less, and that is that is with the DEMI-HOUR bursary program. And we've updated this program recently now to make it really great. It's going to be beneficial for us and also for you. And the way that a bursary works is that we try to fund some of your studies by also getting something back from you. So it's not just that we're giving you something, it's that we also want you to serve Open Window, but also we're hoping that in the way that you serve Open Window, that you'll also benefit from that in some way. So I'm going to now speak about DEMI-HOURS for a little bit, just to help you understand how that works. So initially, the honors students will be registered on a full fee schedule. So that would be, if you're doing it in 1 year, 109,200. Okay. Then you'll be permitted to apply for a position in the DEMI-HOUR bursary program. So that is going to happen in January and February. And if you're successful, then your registration will be changed to a DEMI-HOUR registration. So the DEMI-HOUR positions, they are little jobs that are going to, they're vacancies that will go out in January, February, and you'll be able to apply for one of these jobs. And if you get the job, then your fees will be greatly reduced. In fact, they will be reduced by 40,000 Rand if you are a full-time student, and half of that if you are a part-time student. And this is how it works. So the vacancies will be there are a limited number of them. So we're hoping that there will be enough vacancies for all of the students who want to do the DEMI-HOUR program, but there might not be. So you would need to apply, and I would say maybe apply for 2 or 3 of those positions. The kind of positions you can expect are academic teaching assistants, so we call them TAs. So you would then be dedicated to a specific subject and maybe even a specific teacher for the whole year, and you would be that teacher's assistant, helping them with whatever they need, events, classes, marking, whatever the case is. Could also be academic operations. So this also covers a wide range of things. And then marketing awareness. So our marketing department always needs students or extra help, but it's really nice if they have students who have already been through the course to maybe go and visit schools and do that kind of thing. And then our student support department, they run the SRC. They also run the clubs that have died a little bit now with COVID. So you could get a small job with that, with a student support department, and help them in what they're doing. These vacancies will be circulated in January, and application processes will be explained. So it'll probably also include an interview. And the job will be 7 hours a week. So that's the maximum that you'd be able to work. So if that's 1 full day of work a week, and you would be able to work up, if you work 7 hours a week for the term. So we have you'd work from week 1 to week 9 in the first 2 terms, and week 1 to week 8 in the second 2 terms. And that would make up about 235 hours. So here you have it, 7 hours a week, 235 hours. Note that students still get holidays and enough time to focus on your honors work. Students will need to attend 2 open days in the year, so you'll be helping with open day as well, and attend events relevant to their role. So, for example, for screen acting, we're looking for a cinematographer and a sound student that can be dedicated to doing all of our filming in the year. But like the illustration superstation that's now on the VC side, they would need whoever's doing that job, or is the TA there, to also be at the superstation. In film, we might need you to help us with some of the screenings that we have, to help with the pangolins, that kind of thing. Okay, so for full-time, 10,000 Rand per term will then be put into your account, your student account. So if you've completed the work, if you haven't done the work and you've just not showed up, then you won't get the money, and we might have to fire you and get somebody else. But if all goes well and you've met your contract, then at the end of each term, we will deposit 10,000 Rand into a student account. So you will then get a 40,000 Rand discount, which is pretty awesome. The limit used to be 29,000, and this is the first year that we've adjusted it so that we can actually pay a full 40,000 Rand. It works out to about 170 Rand an hour that you will then be paid for that part-time work. And then for part-time students, 5,000 Rand would then be allocated to the student account at the end of each term for your work completed. And you would then be doing 3.5 or 4 hours a week. So you wouldn't be able to do all your DEMI-HOURS in 1 year. You'd have to do half of the DEMI-HOURS. All right. At the end of the year, the student will be able to indicate 1 year's worth of experience in the position, increasing experience within their field. So this is part of what we want to try and offer, is that it's not just kind of donkey work. There will be some donkey work doing photocopies and that kind of thing. But the idea is that you also do work that's in your field, and that you learn from the lecturers, and that you can actually put it on your CV even, and say that you've done 1 year of work in this position. So the level or subject manager will be able to write a reference letter as part of the student's CV, and will be a contactable reference for the student when looking for an employment. So if you want to work in the gear room, or in the library, or in the photo studio, or in the makerspace, if you do that well, and if you've done this job to a point of satisfaction, then there's no reason why Open Window can't write a reference letter for you. So we want to try and formalize this more than it has been in the past, so that it's actually a proper job. All right, and that is all that I have to say. So just to let you know, on the 9th of November, we're going to have an honors Q&A, which is probably going to be on campus, where you can speak to me face to face. There'll also be some other people who know lots of things about the honors degree who can also help you there. So think about it a little bit, and then on the 9th of November, you're welcome to come to that event. I'm sure it'll be advertised well, so that you'll know about it. And then you can answer more questions there. Right, thank you for joining. So I'm going to go out of these slides now and into the meet, and stop sharing. Yeah, does anybody have any questions? I know some of you are not in third year just yet, but I'm glad to see that you are here thinking about this. It's quite a mouthful. I don't know, Stefan or Stephanie, have I left anything out that you?
No, there hasn't been anything that you left out. What I can say is that I have access to your transcript, so you wouldn't need to request that.
Okay.
Because you're current student and I still have access to the system. So you just send me an email and tell me that you're interested in your honors, and then I just take you through the rest of the process.
Okay, that sounds really easy. So
Yeah.
you just email Stephanie.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah.
Nothing from my side. I think, or maybe one thing, when we do conduct interviews, you don't have to absolutely know what you're setting out to do. You can still change your mind, and we will still guide you through it. It's more just to check whether you know what it entails, and you know what you're signing up for, and you have a good enough reason to do the honors. It's not just to stay in your parents' nest for longer, but it's actually that you want to achieve something, and you want to because a lot of the work that you're setting out to do is on your own terms. So you really have to want to push yourself in a new direction as well. I feel like if you're not motivated to do it, you might just waste your time. So you really need to want to achieve this, and it is an honor.
Yeah. Agreed. It's something that it shifts you into a space where you are taking ownership of your own work and are self-motivating. Yeah, and thinking through, it's an academic honor, so you're going to be making practical work that is fueled by thorough academic research. So it's an opportunity to really read about what other people are exploring in the field. Even in game design, there are a lot of people busy writing and thinking through things and applying things like trauma theory and feminism and things that you don't even know exist yet, that are applying that to script writing, to film making, to acting. And it's quite a wonderful world, and it definitely enriches your conceptual thinking, you know. Okay, you want the slides? I will send them to you, Vanessa Lowe and Damilola. Let me quickly send them. Any other questions? You can ask stupid questions as well. I'm open to anything. It's something that's not within your frame of reference yet. So ask away. If there's anything else. You guys shy, or you're just not sure what to ask? What okay. Yeah, Vanessa.
Hi, I just wanted to know, so you say if we want to have one of those DEMI-HOUR things, that we can apply for multiple positions. If we don't get those positions, will they still be open for other people? Like, will there still be enough time to, like, if multiple people, apply for multiple positions? I just want to know if there'll be enough time to kind of sort through all that.
Can I get this one? I think we have more work than we have students. So it's unlikely that you won't that we won't have something for you to do, and that you won't qualify for some sort of DEMI-HOURS. It's just that we're structuring it a little bit better on our side. Before we had like odd jobs and things, and students would help out where they can, but we found that like giving them giving you guys like a task for a period of time to do is also better for you, because then you actually have something that we can write you a reference for. And it's not just writing you a reference for it. They make excellent photocopies. Rather say something like, okay, you've been a teacher's assistant for this period, from this period of time, or that point in time to that. And I think that's worth more for you guys at the end of the day as well, but also we get to rely on you. The only time that I think that something's not going to sort of realize or go askew is if it doesn't work out, and I think that will only happen if, I don't know, something comes up. I don't know what happens, but sometimes things like life gets in your way, and then you can't. But I think for most part, you are where you are because you've deserved to be there. And I'm sure you can take the next step and be responsible and take on a position and actually do the work.
Yeah. I think the film school has at this point less honors students than the VC school. So I think that rule is more there for them because they've got a lot of students and less subjects actually. So I think we won't have the problem of not having enough jobs available. We're just formalizing it and having an interview process so that it is formal. But I don't think you need to worry about that. But yes, we'll try. I think you're asking if there'll be enough time to kind of pull out and apply for something else maybe. But yeah, the idea is that we do it, right in the beginning of the process. So does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Anybody worried about the marks? Don't know, you guys. I'm assuming you're all super smart and yeah, Paul.
Hello. So I'm a 4-year course student. Is that the same as honors, the 4th year?
Are you doing that at Open Window?
Yes, I am.
Okay. In what course is that?
The film course.
Okay. Did you do it over 4 years? Or
so this is my 3rd year now. I've got my 4th year next year.
Oh, okay. And what is your 4th year? Are you doing a different major, or you?
No, it's still the same major, film.
So you're doing film and TV, 4th year next year. At Open
Yes,
Window.
that's correct.
Okay, that's interesting.
It's not the same as the honors. That's just part-time studies, as far as I believe.
Yes. So can I just interrupt so I can just explain? So
Please.
basically, he took his studies over 4 years.
Oh,
So he
yeah.
would have did lesser credits per year to make up for that 4 years. That's basically what happened there.
Yeah, it's not quite the same. It's an entirely different degree. So you will finish your bachelor's in film arts end of next year then, and then you can apply for the honors the next year, the year after.
Okay,
So-
thank you.
Yeah, so you are doing your undergraduate degree over 4 years. And so you would need to finish that undergraduate degree to be able to qualify for an honors. I think I might have confused you with my fine arts degree, which was 4 years that included an honors. That was the only option that I had that didn't do a 3-year degree. But no, our degree at Open Window is a 3-year full-time degree, or you can do it over longer years. Then it's part-time, but you're still only getting the undergraduate NQF level 7 degree. Third year into 2, that's what I did. Yeah, so if you're dividing your third year into 2, that is just means that you're doing your undergraduate degree over a longer period of time. So that's you need to finish your undergraduate before you can do your honors. Yeah, I think I confused all of you with my example of the fine arts. Apologies. Okay. Any questions about the content of the work, about the majors maybe that you're interested in? You get a supervisor, and your supervisor, you have a theory supervisor and a practical supervisor. Sometimes it's the same person, and they then take you through the whole year, meeting with you individually to help you along your way. And you also have practical classes. I run those classes at this point, where we do all kinds of things, but we often just look at each other's work and give crit to each other. And throughout the year, we have little crit sessions where we give you feedback and, yeah, that kind of thing. There's a lot of that. Anything else? Okay, I'm glad. It makes sense. If you pay monthly, Stephanie, is it still paid over 10 months?
Yes, that's correct. It's still paid over 10 months.
Yeah. And then,
I have a question.
Yes.
What happens with a student that is working and trying to do their honors?
Yeah, so then the part-time option is really good because you have more time. You're doing the same amount of work, but over 2 years, kind of like what Paul is doing with his undergraduate. So yeah, we have some students who are studying full-time and working, but a lot of them are working on contract work by the hour, and a lot of them have now stopped because especially these last 2 months, it gets very intense, and a lot of them are not coping with working and studying.
Okay.
And so they've actually stopped doing their freelance work so that they can focus on their studies. They managed in the beginning of the year to do it because you only have official class twice a week. So you can, but it's not really recommended. I think it's more stressful. But if it's part-time work that you're doing and it's not a full-time 9 to 5,
Yeah.
it's not impossible to do it full-time.
But then
But-
you must do the honors part-time.
Um,
You would recommend it rather.
I would recommend it, but
Okay.
we have had students, as long as your work is flexible, I think you could attempt to do both, but you wouldn't be able to work full-time and study full-time. Your work
Okay.
would have to be, by the hour when you can kind of thing, and they must be able to give you leeway if you don't have time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Thank you,
Just
Lorraine.
buckle down and work. Yeah.
Okay.
But the students who work and study full-time, a lot of them end up having many breakdowns, not coping, stressing a lot, falling apart. It's not pretty. So
Yeah, it's tough.
yeah, if you want to avoid that, then I would say either do it part-time or just avoid working.
Doing your honors
only
at the
work in
same
the
time.
holidays. Yeah.
Okay.
Really. It's not a master's. A master's one can do over 2, 3, 4 years
Yeah.
of work, but an honors it's supposed to be a 1-year intensive course. And we can do
Okay.
it over 2 years, but yeah.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Are there any more questions? Otherwise, I think we can finish off.
Yeah, I suppose that, like, if you are doing the part-time thing, and working at the same time. If you you have to do your theory first, right? Or is
No.
there no particular order?
We've actually changed that system. So if you do it part-time, you will have to do 50% or 40 to 50% of your practical by the end of the first year, and 50% of your theory by the end of the
Okay,
first
so you don't
year.
split the actual. Okay.
No, we've
right.
just found it's better because your practical and theory speak to each other. You have to kind of do both
Do them
of them at the
together.
same time.
Okay, that
Yeah.
makes sense.
And it's actually nicer as well. The Q&A session, Stephanie, as far as I know, it's happening on campus.
What is happening on campus?
On the
Sorry.
9th of November, we have a Q&A session for
Yes.
the honors. It's on campus, as far as I know.
From what I know as well, yes, it's supposed to be on campus because they changed the lockdown levels. The
Yes, I'm
Yeah.
just asking here quickly. See what they say.
So I think they can be accommodated on campus because of that, because of protocols that have changed.
Yeah, but if you have questions, you're welcome to just email me as well, Lorraine at Open Window, and I will answer whatever. Okay, good guys. Thanks for coming, and we hope to see you in the honors program. It's a fun, very exclusive kind of year. We're a tight group this year, and it's been quite amazing just seeing the work that's coming out. Also, on the 22nd of November, which is far away, but not so far for the honors students, they're feeling it very close now. They're having a massive exhibition on campus where they're going to show the work that they've made. So we've got 4 game designers who have made really cool things. We've got all the VC students, the design side, you're going to see their work. We've got some animators. So I would say just come on the 22nd of November and see. There's going to be some wine in the evening. And the week before that, I'm not sure of the date yet, but we're going to have a presentation. It's called a Pecha Kucha evening. It's like TED Talks, where each of the students is going to give like a 6-minute presentation of what their research is about. And I think if you hear those presentations and you come to the exhibition, you're going to have a really good idea of what kind of work will be expected of you and of the fun that you can have if you do an honors. So I think that's maybe the best way to get an idea of what's happening. But keep your eyes open for that. I'm sure it'll be on the Instagram, and we'll probably send out a mailer as well, so you'll know about that. Okay, cool guys.